Hey there, I'm gonna quickly run through how I created this no amp patch that I shared in my Facebook video modeled after the Carvin Legacy. So we're gonna get started by adding in that legendary drive block, obviously. I left a lot of the settings pre-stock. I think I maybe increased the drive just a little bit, left maybe the bass up a tad, but left a lot of these relatively the same. I might have increased the treble and presence just a touch to give it a little bit more bite and stand out in the mix. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure that this is set to path 2A so that it connects both paths there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add my dual cab block. The first one that I added was the 4x12 greenback 25, and I went over to the 160 ribbon mic 3 inches back, leaving all settings the same. I just find that the dynamic mics are a little bit too harsh. And then for that second cab, I went down to the Cali V30, also ribbon mic 3 inches back, all other settings the same. After that, I did add a stereo EQ block. I like the high and low shelf. I set this around 400 hertz. Keep in mind that you will have different monitoring system, different guitar, different room than I will, so this is more of a preference, but I took out a couple dB, just 2 or so, about 400 and below. This helps it stand out in the mix a little bit more and not interfere with the kick drum and bass. And then I went way up to 6 kilohertz, and I increased that about 3 dB. That just helped bring in some of that natural sizzle. This patch is kind of dark, so it helped bring that to life a little bit. And then the stereo delay. I used the dual delay. I changed both these timing components to quarter note and dotted eighth. Brought down the feedback and mix a little bit. Again, that's to taste as well. Turned off chorus, and I brought the high cut down just so that it doesn't, the delay doesn't mask the lead tone quite as much. And then finally turn the trails on so that your signal doesn't get cut off if you turn off delay. And then finally reverb. If you're going for more of a Stevie Vai tone, which the legendary drive is based around the Carvin Legacy, I believe. If you're going for that tone, I would probably use a chamber or a more saturated reverb, but just in the video I shared on Facebook, I used a room reverb, brought down to about 30% in the mix. I don't really think I messed with many of the other settings. I turned trails on. And then, so this next step really depends on whether you have a stereo setup or not, or if you're running with headphones. If you only have one speaker, I would not do this because it'll sound out of phase and won't sound very good. But if you have a stereo setup, or you're recording in stereo, or are running with headphones, this will help. This will make your tone sound huge. So what I do here is, in between the amp block and the cab block, I add a mono delay, simple delay. I bring the time all the way down to about 15 milliseconds. Feedback at 0, so there's no repeats. Mix at 100%, trails on, and I split that to a new path. Also bring that down to 2A. And here's the trick. You want to pan the right side, or the delay side, down to all the way to the right, and the non-delay side all the way to the left. So this stereo path, so you have your legendary drive split into two signals, one of them separated by 15 milliseconds. That will go into both your cabs as a stereo signal throughout the rest of your chain. And then finally, as I showed in the video, I did have another drive in there just to push the legendary drive just a little bit more. I found that the valve driver works pretty well, and I would just start off by putting everything at 5 and kind of tweaking from there. Again, it'll depend on the output of your pickups and everything else. So I think this is a good place to start. Hopefully you like it. I'll play around with the EQ and whatnot from there, but this is basically what I showed in my video. And I'll do a quick demo of what this tone sounds like in mono versus stereo. So if you take this off and then you don't use a dual delay, I'll show you the difference on how much of a difference that stereo characteristic makes in the tone. Thanks.